One's broken.
I look over on Sean's iPad, and the cover to the latest Lil Wayne album, kind of like
it popped up.
Like if you're listening to your iPod and like the album cover or whatever song you're listening to,
right,
like
the
is on the screen.
Art.
Like that's what it was, except it was Lil Wayne, the Carter 4. Like, what's up with that?
Apparently, I'm a big fan.
Apparently.
Let me kill that real quick.
So he's like, I need to go to Genesis. The guy's like, no, and so they make a plan to steal the Enterprise.
Right, which is about to be decommissioned. Scotty's been pulled onto the Excelsior, even though he wants to retrofit the Enterprise. He wants to get it back on the line. Well, he loves the ship.
Yeah.
Even unlike most techies who are like, ooh, new thing, let me go to this. He's as in love with the Enterprise as Kirk. But they're like, nah, homie, you're just too good at fixing spaceships. You gotta work on this. So it's like Kirk, Uhura actually has something to do in this movie.
Looking cool. Like Lionel Richie with the Jerry curl.
Yeah, somehow between the end of 2 and beginning of 3, she found time to change her hairstyle.
Yeah. Well, she had the appointment set, and
right.
Takes so long to
salon
to get
deck.
booked. Yeah. So meanwhile, Savick and David, Kirk's bastard son, are on Genesis, and they found
they were with the scientific vessel that was checking it out, and they find Spock's coffin,
and it's
surrounded
empty
by space worms.
Yeah.
That were evolved from the bacteria that was on the coffin.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh, shit's off the hook here. This is the Savage Land.
They find the empty coffin. They find empty burial robes.
Yeah, Spock's running naked through the wild,
like Mowgli.
Yeah, exactly.
And then eventually they find this little shivering boy, and he's got pointy ears.
Right. Somehow he got out of there, and I guess if you woke up in a coffin, you might try to get out.
Yeah.
Although you might take your clothes with you.
Yeah. Well,
even if they don't fit.
I don't know. He's like,
I don't want to wear these dead man's robes.
Well, he's a little kid, doesn't know any shame.
It's true. Little kids love being naked.
I was talking about how there was a very difficult period in my life wherein I was still wearing like tighty-whities. I was still wearing briefs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd gotten old enough that I was ashamed.
Okay.
To be like walking around like in my underwear around home.
Right.
And up until I started wearing boxers,
mm-hmm.
there's a very dark period in my life where I was always fully clothed at home. And then once I started wearing boxers, I'm like, oh, these are just like shorts.
Right.
Like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna wear these.
6 months ago, I found out about boxers, and my life's been great ever since.
But it's kind of like that, I guess.
When did you start wearing boxers? How old were you?
I was 7th or 8th grade.
I don't think I made the jump till after 9th grade.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I kept wearing sweatpants to school in junior high for a little while. So.
Why not?
Well, I didn't know until I looked around. I was like, oh, fuck.
I was wearing thongs by 7th grade. So
my future wife at the time was wearing thongs. Well, I'm wearing sweatpants and wondering why nobody wants to be my friend.
She's got some fabric up her butthole.
Right, and I'm like...
Upper crack, I should say, not up the butthole.
Right, I'm wearing underwear that has my dried ejaculate from last weekend. And wondering why the girl of my dreams won't talk to me. There.
In your sweatpants.
Yeah, under my sweatpants. I mean, the sweatpants mask the smell, dude. And then I went home to my mom and I was like, you gotta buy me some more jeans, man.
Man? You're fucking sending me out there to die, man.
She's like, you said you didn't like jeans. I'm like, well, now that's all I love.
I hate sweatpants.
And I've never worn them since.
So they find Spock as a little boy and realize that the planet is aging rapidly.
Yep, like it's jacking.
It's
Jack?
Yeah.
Or the Dangerous Years or whatever, the episode where they all got the get old disease.
Oh yeah.
And Kirk, they had to have a hearing to have Kirk removed as commander.
The Dangerous Years, the Deadly Years,
Deadly Years.
The Deadly
Years.
So
the planet's deadly yearsing.
And then Spock's doing the same thing.
Right.
So they're like, we gotta make sure Spock doesn't that he's fine, and also we have to get off this planet because it's gonna blow up. Boom.
But then Doc Brown Klingon shows up.
Yeah. Then also there's
this subplot we've neglected up till now.
There's some Klingons. One of them is Christopher Lloyd.
I think it might have been his first film though, because it says introducing Christopher Lloyd in the credits.
Oh, well, then there you go. He plays a Klingon, and they want to get the
they intercept the transmission about the Genesis planet, and they're like, "Oh shit, this is like the A-bomb of space."
And they want it. But what no one knows up until David reveals it is that he used proto-matter,
which is highly unstable shit.
When he made the Genesis, so that's why it's getting all fucked up.
Like his dad, cutting corners and doing whatever the fuck he wanted.
Pretty much. And this time he's gonna bite him in the ass because he gets killed.
Christopher Lloyd kills him.
Was it Christopher Lloyd?
I don't know. It's one of it's not Lloyd. It's one of his.
One of the Klingons kills him.
One of his buddies.
So the plan that Kirk has hatched.
Mm-hmm.
They name it the Kobayashi Maru, which I thought was cute.
That's a nice touch.
But it works.
Mm-hmm.
And they warp off, and
they break out of space dock, which is apparently this giant clamp that holds 2 spaceships, and they get out, and it turns out Scotty has fucked with the Excelsior, so it can't follow them.
Morrow's I like to see him warp, see what happens.
Watch what happens.
And so they warp. They're like, all right, follow him. And they're like, we can't. And Scotty they cut to the Enterprise. Scotty's like, oh, so he pulls out cables or whatever.
He's got a couple of nuts and bolts and hands them to McCoy.
He's like, oh, someone must have fucked up the warp drive.
From one surgeon to another, I think he says to McCoy or something like that.
McCoy has this great line when Kirk tells him what's up. He's like, hey, you've got Spock's soul inside you, kind of.
Yes.
Capone says, that green-blooded son of a bitch.
And he's like, hey, this is his way of getting back at me for all those arguments I won. So not only is he pissed, he's delusional.
Which, Bones is definitely my favorite of the movies so far.
Yeah.
Scotty's got old and fat, kind of.
He's not as he doesn't have as much to do. He's a jolly old grandpa now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not the sharp-witted drinker, hard-drinking engineer we saw in the TV show.
But yeah, Bones is definitely my favorite.
Bones is exactly the same. He hasn't changed one bit. He looks the same because he looked old even as a young man. Shatner's got Jew curls now. Nimoy aged relatively well.
Yeah,
he looks about the same, but he's barely in this one, so we can't talk about him too much.
So there's a face off between the Enterprise and the Klingons, and
Kirk kicks the Klingon down into the lava pit.
He tricks them.
That's right, into beaming aboard.
He's like, okay, fine, we surrender, beam aboard the Enterprise, and he sets it to self-destruct.
He finally makes good on his decades-old threat.
And when they beam aboard, the crew beams off onto Genesis.
That's right.
And the Klingons beam aboard to take over, and they're like, no one's here. All I hear are a
countdown.
Yeah,
they hear Michelle Roddenberry counting down.
Well, he says something all I hear is the computer
Right, he's like, what are you hearing? And they don't speak Earth, I guess.
Common tongue.
Right, they don't speak the common.
And so it's 5, 4, and you hear Christopher Lloyd goes, get out of there! And you see the Enterprise explode.
And you see Chekhov, Scotty, you see the Enterprise crew down on Genesis watching the Enterprise streak through the sky. And Kirk says something like, what have I done? And I forget who says it to him. I don't know if it's Scotty or Bones says, what you always do, what you had to, or something like that. It's a nice moment, and it has real impact, I think. Can you imagine if you were a fan of the show as a kid? I mean, now the Enterprise gets destroyed. They're advertising Star Trek Into Darkness right now, and the image they're using to sell it is the Enterprise falling out of the sky. So but this is the first time they actually destroy the Enterprise. It's a pretty big fucking deal.
There's a part where during the Great Escape, when
what do you think of everybody's civvies, by the way? Kirk's wearing a pink
they're all right.
Poet shirt, and
I like Bones's I'd say costume, but his clothing more.
It looks like Leonard, not Leonard anymore. DeForest Kelly just showed up to set in what he would wear, and they just were like, "All right, fine, walk on set." I miss the uniforms in this movie. I really wish that I like the uniforms
with the puffy white turtlenecks.
Yeah, and the bib.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Starfleet regulation bib.
So there's a part during the Great Escape where like Sulu and Chekhov, I think, like about to like fight with these two dudes, or like
The security officers.
and one of them calls Sulu tiny,
Yes. Well, he stands up and he's like 3 feet taller than
Yeah.
Sulu.
and Sulu beats the shit out of him.
Don't call me.
And then as he's walking out, he goes, "Don't call me tiny."
Yeah, when they break McCoy, or somebody's imprisoned. I think it's McCoy who's been arrested for
Yeah.
trying to book passage to the Genesis planet.
That's right. Yeah.
They break him out of the Death Star detention level.
and
He closes
apparently,
the garage door.
Sulu didn't like that.
He didn't like saying that?
No, well, yeah, he didn't like being called tiny.
Yeah. Is that like a character thing that's running through the, like Marty McFly and Don't Call Me Chicken?
Like, but in real life,
Oh, George Takei didn't like it?
yeah.
Oh.
I know. Like, obviously, Sulu didn't like it because he
Yeah,
beat that dude's ass
right.
and brought it up. But no, yeah, Decay didn't like it, and then apparently he saw it, and he was like, "Oh, it works."
Fair enough.
Like, I mean, like, yeah,
Nimoy was like, you gotta trust me on this one.
trust.
Trust.
So Kirk and what's his name? Like Jovi?
Who? Krug? The Klingon?
Yeah, Krug.
Krug?
I guess I don't know why I thought it was Jovi. They fight, and
Kirk has this great iconic line.
which was
I have had enough
Oh,
of you.
I talked over that.
Oh, god damn you.
I talked over that. Krug is hanging, like, hanging over a cliff, grasping.
Star and Mufasa style.
Yeah, and Kirk he grabs. Well, he says, "Give me your hand." Like Kirk is willing to let it, like, to spare his life again.
Kirk doesn't kill unless he has to.
And Krug grabs his, like, ankle, like Kirk's ankle, and I scream, like, "Kick him with the other foot! Kick him in the face!" Which he does. He kicks him 3 times, and I guess while Kirk was saying that, I said, "Eat a dick!" And then he falls into lava.
He says the PG equivalent.
Pretty much. I mean, if Nimoy's like, "No, hard R or nothing," that's what he would have said.
Pretty much.
Somehow
Somehow they get aboard the Bird of Prey.
Yeah, they get onto the Bird of Prey with new Spock, and Spock also goes through Ponfar.
With Saavik. And Saavik, they imply but don't come right out and say that she mates with him to keep him from dying.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
that's my question exactly. As a 14-year-old,
Yeah,
like some
Like-
hottie in her 20s is
like
like,
late 20s.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna feed you, baby bird.
exactly. Like that's got to be a lot of young men. I know it was one of mine. I remember seeing it. All right, but that brings up a universe-wide question: is so did Spock do all Vulcans? Do their dads take them to like the red light district on Vulcan when they're 14 and they're like, go play? Because Spock shows up and he's like, oh, this is my wife in a mock time and a fuck time.
Yeah.
He's like, this is my wife, but they make it sound like they haven't done it before. Like this will be the consummation. So to me, it sounds like 7 years before that, or however old Spock's supposed to be.
Maybe they have like Vulcan instituted like bordellos that they can go to.
Maybe they have fleshlights,
Yeah,
Avatar themed fleshlights.
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. If somebody knows the answer to the Vulcan's biology,
Because it's every 7 years,
right?
and so
I would assume starting at 14. Right?
yeah,
it doesn't. They're not fucking 7-year-olds. They're not gross. Okay,
I mean, and also like 14. I mean, like you go.
that's
through,
when you start.
start going through.
That's
puberty.
when you start producing lots of cum.
So much cum.
Is Vulcan cum green? It'd be like if your cum was the color of your blood, though.
Yeah.
Maybe it's blue.
Yeah. Well,
If somebody does the color of Vulcan ejaculate, please let us know.
what's the
Correlation, like red, white,
yeah,
for
like
us.
green.
What is it?
What is it?
Let us know.
Maybe like a light blue,
Maybe.
like a periwinkle.
Maybe that's why Spock laughed when he saw that blue flower in the cage.
It looks like someone jizzed all over this thing,
Right?
They're like, dude.
And when they gave him his blue shirt for the first time, he was like, "Oh no,
They're gonna call.
You're not gonna fool me. This is
Uh,
a prank, right, guys?"
Going by color theory, I think it would be black.
black.
Oh, Becca's saying it would be black cum.
Oh,
Oh, that's unsettling.
that is
That's unsettling.
that doesn't sit right with me.
I don't like that.
So Kirk, Spock and his body and his soul are reunited.
And the Vulcan Tabernacle Choir Temple or whatever.
And then it says like the adventure continues.
Right. Well,